Welcome everybody to webinar number 6 of the State of Real Estate with Bayut. It's important at an event like this when you come in and join that you pay attention, number one, but number two, you get involved and you get engaged. So before I start, I just want to remind you that please take time to ask questions. We want to try and do as much as we can for you today to engage you and give you the answers that maybe you're looking for right now. On the session today, we've got some exciting guests and people you haven't seen before, and I'm looking forward to introducing them. We've also got the CEO of Bayut, Haider Ali Khan, who's with us as well, and he's going to be introducing some really fantastic stuff today. So I want you to pay attention, maybe have a notepad ready so that you can make some notes of what's going on here. And so we can learn about really how data and insights play a big role in what we do as real estate brokers here in the UAE. So without further ado, I'd just like to welcome Haider Khan. Come and join us, Haider. How are you? Excellent stuff. Nice to see you, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well indeed. You've been busy recently, haven't you? Goodness, with all the stuff that's going on with the merger, you must have been working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I can imagine.
It's been busy. It's been busy. Not enough hours in the day. So just trying to make time for this, as well as obviously there's a whole new family that we're welcoming into the group. All of the divisional staff, and just trying to spend some time with them and get to know them. But yeah, it's been going great. Yeah.
So much to do in so little time. It's like, see, I know that you said last time on the session that you've been working on it for some time, but for all of us, it came as like news out of the blue, and then obviously then realizing what's involved. I mean, a merger of that type of magnitude and of a company of that kind of value, it must take an enormous amount of energy out of you, and obviously trying to get everything together with the people that work in the organization and manage expectations and stuff like that. I'm sure no doubt it was a big challenge. Has it been fun though? That's the question.
It is. It has been. It still is. And I'm looking forward to the next X number of years. It's all about fun. It has to be fun. It has to be exciting. And that's what keeps people going. So you can see from the smile on my face. I'm excited about it.
I've known you for about a year, and very rarely do I see you with a big cheesy grin on your face, and I have in the last week or so. It seems to me like you're really enjoying the experience. So yeah, well done to you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about some exciting stuff. Okay, some new revolutionary insights section that you've got within the business and on the platform, and I'm sure many people won't understand much about it right now. But hopefully you're going to present that to us today. But I really wanted to try and get some feedback from people, really, and get a poll launched and see what people thought the insights section was going to be all about within the platform. So for all of you that are listening right now, that are here on that webinar with us, okay, we're going to launch a poll. And what I want to do is see what you think is going to be happening with the new insights development on the Bayut platform. So here's a question for you. So please get involved and get engaged, okay? So what are the benefits of competitive data and market analysis provided on insights, okay? So what are the benefits do you think? Okay, could it be it supports in boosting exposure and ranking your listings? It supports in maximizing earning potential and revenue. It simplifies access to property market trends for the region, or calculates the ROI for your potential buyers and investors, or compares your performance against other industry peers. Let's have a think about that. What do you think, okay, are the benefits of the competitive data and market analysis provided on insights? Go and give it a go. Okay, take the time, give it a go. Let us know what you think. Okay, the more engagement you give us, the more that we can give you back. Okay, so give it a go. The poll's coming through. Oh, Haider, this is interesting stuff. Oh wow, and it's changing quite a lot as well. Goodness me, as we see it coming through. I'm watching all of you. Please take your time to get a vote in quickly. Tell us what you think. Okay, tell us what you think. Okay, wow, goodness me. Right, some really interesting information there. So we've got 12%. No, God, this is moving all the time. 32% are saying supports in maximizing earning potential. 21% simplifies access to property market trades. Wow, okay, and that's changing as well. Compares your performance against other industry peers. Well, that's a real spread. I wasn't thinking there'd be such a spread across there. So we've got, I mean, literally it's 16, 17, 29, 23, 20, 14, 17, and it's chopping and changing all the time. Really interesting to see. So get your vote in. What do you think, guys? There's a whole bunch of you out there attending today. What do you think with this new insight section? Okay, your feedback and your engagement is important. Right, Haider, have you? I mean, let's have a look. You've got 40%.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You know, it's good to see kind of, if I might say, an even spread, because you know we're working on all of these things, so it you know, it contains all of this stuff. So I think that just validates the need for something like this. But I do have a bit of a presentation to introduce insight.
Please do that, because I think I'd like to understand it in a lot more detail. I mean, I've got a bit of a kind of top level understanding of it, but I'd like to learn more about it. So please, yeah, go ahead. Some slides would be great.
Sure. All right, I've shared my screen, assuming everybody can see it. Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Okay. All right, guys. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for taking the time to come attend the webinar. You know, I'm very excited about announcing the launch of this new feature. And I think in reality, it's more than a feature. There's a lot of stuff in it, so it's not a feature. It's almost a complete product. You know, before we go there, I do want to briefly touch upon some of the things that we've released in the last 30 days. We launched 3D Live, which essentially allows, we have a large repository of standardized floor plans, 2D and 3D, but 3D Live takes it one step further, where you can interact with the floor plan, and now you have the ability to actually have your listings display those floor plans as well. As you just need to go into Profolio and mark the floor plan that's appropriate for that property. We have agent reviews and testimonials that we launched, and again, this is we're the first to do this. The idea again is that you all work so hard in the industry to win over your clients and provide good service to them. You should definitely have a platform where you can reflect that, because it builds trust in you. For new people who come into the platform who haven't interacted with you before, they're going to read these reviews and testimonials. It's just similar to the way I see it is when I go to Amazon to buy something, I go and look at the reviews. So I think we're very excited about this. So please continue to get more testimonials and reviews from your previous clients, and then that would help you build even stronger pipelines going forward. We introduced video listings, where in the search results you can just, as opposed to showing pictures of the property, if you have a video for the property, we are just displaying those videos. I believe it's more interactive, especially in these times where mobility is limited. And then Facebook Live, we've been doing Facebook Live videos for the last 3 years, maybe even more than that, around 3 years. Where we do a walkthrough with our partners of properties, and they're broadcasted to all of our audience on Facebook. But now they're gonna, now they're broadcasted directly to all of the audience on the website at that time as well. So that's a bit of what we've done. But let's move on to the topic for today, which is insights, and what is insights all about. This is one of my personal favorite quotes. I really like it. It's based around data. And sorry, 1 second, I'm going to see if I can move this a little bit. Never mind. So if we have data, let's look at data. If all we have are opinions, let's go with mine. And I think this is from Jim Barksdale, CEO of Netscape. For those of you who don't remember, Netscape was the first web navigator that existed, a popular one, before Chrome and Safari and all of these other things came around. So the point is that data is important, because it helps you get educated on what's really happening. If you're going to have a conversation with someone, if you can back that up with data, then it just validates what you're saying. So there's and it's not just about arguments. Even if you're going to persuade someone to do something, if you have data to back it up, it just makes that whole conversation that much easier. So that is kind of the premise of all of this section, which is to empower you with data, so then you can go and do a better job servicing your clients, and even gaining more knowledge about the market itself. And that's how I see Bayut. We have the most traffic, we have the most content, so we can certainly play a part. I've mentioned this before, where I've said that this data exists because of a partnership between us, where all of you who are our partners and clients put your listings on the platform. We drive traffic, through our brand and through marketing. And then there's a lot of data that we collect, and this whole effort is around providing you insights into that to help you better understand how to run your business. So again, very excited about introducing insights. So let's go into a little bit more detail in terms of what it is, what's coming out, and how we can really help you make smart decisions moving forward. The core of this effort was really around three areas. It was how to help you become a market leader, how to help you unlock more growth potential, and how to give you data-backed insights so that they can help you and your clients. And so I'll go through each one of these. When it comes to being a market leader, as I've mentioned multiple times, that the journey for any consumer starts with us, ends with you. So certainly you have to do we all have to do an excellent job throughout this journey to really provide the level of service. If you provide a good level of service, naturally we would move towards becoming market leaders. You would move towards becoming market leaders. So we do everything that we can to empower the consumer to understand all the listings, but then we are also empowering you to make sure that journey that begins with you, from us, they move over to you, is also a good one. And what we've done on this front is we're going to start sharing competitive insights with you just to understand how you're doing on the portal that gets the most traffic in the UAE. So again, the idea is, there's kind of three columns. You do get this report in an email, but we wanted to make it a bit more interactive and on the fly, so you don't have to kind of wait for an email whenever it comes out. There are really three categories, which is, how is your exposure in terms of, how much exposure are you getting for your listings in a specific area? How does your stock compare if you have more listings or less listings compared to everybody else in the market? And then finally, how's the quality of your listings? Is it, are they good? Are they bad? You can see that there's a few call to actions over here. So if the listing quality is not good, it's average or low, then from this tool within Profolio, you can actually go to the area where you can work on improving the quality of your listings. This is all, by the way, being introduced in Profolio, and I'll come to why that we're introducing the entire insight section in Profolio. Now, another thing that we've done, which I think is very neat, which is for anything where, let's say, your performance is not as good, and you want to get more exposure, you can see this call to action, which is called Boost Your Ranking. You can open that up. And what that shows you is you can work on, certainly you can work on improving the quality of your listing, but if you actually want to apply some of these products, it shows you what products you've applied to your listings in that area. And then if I show you, you can actually model how much more exposure you can get by applying some more product. And the idea really is that, obviously you can actually go ahead and apply the product and see how your exposure changes. But this whole simulator over here is driven from very deep data in terms of what is happening on the website, how are listings behaving in that area, and it lets you model it before you actually apply it. So you can actually make smart decisions, knowledgeable decisions about applying product, and not just randomly apply product and kind of do this, let's see if it works or not, and then try to assess in due course. So we're very excited about this. This is driven from, as I said, this is driven from actual live data that we're constantly processing, and you can come back and you can play with these you can play with this simulator and understand what impact it will have on your overall performance exposure in that for your listings in that area. Moving on, we've thought a lot about, we've given a lot of thought into how to help you unlock more potential, growth potential. Whether you're an agent or you're an agency, how do you go about doing that? So very happy to introduce within the insights a section called Market Insights. Want to point out a couple of things as we go through this, so just keep that in mind. So there's a search bar on the top. And while what you see over here is the overall insights for Dubai or Abu Dhabi, this is kind of a high-level report. You can go and type in any community that you want, and it's very interactive. It will take you to that community, and it will show you things that I'm about to go through in the next few minutes over here. But if you just look at this, Dubai Market Insights, on the left top side, there is an overall demand index, which is how are people, what are people searching for? Are the searches going up? On the right, there is some course level information in terms of whether if you're looking at apartments or villas, what are the average prices, just to kind of give you a quick snapshot of things. And it certainly gets more interesting as we scroll down, because as we scroll down, you will see that you can start seeing on Bayut what are the popular property types, how are they trending. And there are different views that we have over here. You can see that there's a filter for sale or rent. You can switch between those two. And we're giving you 3 different views. One is highest traffic. So what types of properties are getting the highest traffic? And within that, you can see what your earning potential is based on property prices, average prices for those types. But if you want to have a look at, slightly different view of, that was the highest traffic, but where is the most earning potential? Ignoring traffic, you can look at that. And then the best ROI for buyers, where do you think your investors who are looking to invest for rental income, et cetera, where would they get the best return on their investment? As I said, this is all interactive, so you can, you're certainly, welcome to go in there. And this is how I get into the next section, which talks about, what we go into a little bit more detail in terms of what it lets you do. So here is, as I said, again, as you play with this, you will see this as you scroll down. So in popular areas in Dubai, you can see 3 filters underneath that. And then we give you a map, and then there is this chart or this key over here that says from yellow to green, you can see, opportunity. And it's really based on demand. So opportunity is driven as impressions per listing. So the more the demand is, the greener the color is going to be. You can go on this view in this map, and you can look for the green spots, and you can click on those, and they will give you a quick snapshot of what your earning potential is, what is ROI for buyers in that area, and based on average property prices. Now, again, as I said, this is a fairly high-level view of things. If you want to go, let's say, one level deeper, then certainly that's doable. And the way we do that is, you go to the filters, and let's say in this case, you want to stick with sale, and you just select sale because that's what you're interested in. Moving on, you can specify the type that you're interested in. So as you can see in the drop down, there's apartments and villas, and you can select either. And then finally, if you're selecting apartments, you might be more curious on seeing, okay, which maybe you want to focus on 1 bed or 2 bed or 3 bed. In this case, let's say it's 2 beds. So as you do that, the results update underneath, and then the map also updates, and it shows you which areas have the highest traffic for 2 beds, most earning potential for 2 beds, and the best ROI for buyers for 2 beds. As I said, this is not only just at a kind of a community level under Dubai or Abu Dhabi. If you want to go 1 level deeper, in this case, in this animation, we'll click on Palm Jumeirah, and then we'll go 1 level deeper into Palm Jumeirah. So now the view that we have is for Palm Jumeirah, and it's not for Dubai anymore. Okay, so within Palm Jumeirah, then you can actually go and have a look of again the similar kind of stats on what and things, which is what's happening and where can you have the best ROI, most earning potential. But even within Palm Jumeirah, it will start telling you, okay, either their buildings or sub-communities within Palm Jumeirah, what is your earning potential, and how are things trending for that building or that sub-community, and how you can go about, trying to get inventory over there, or focus more on those areas, because the interest is just, frankly, it's just greater in those areas. So I mentioned at the beginning that so this has been built directly into Profolio. As I said, there's a couple of things that I really do want to highlight over here. One is that a lot of this data, as I said, is driven from a partnership between us, where you as valued clients put your listings on the portal, we drive traffic, and then we can generate these insights. So we believe that they should be available to everybody at no cost, because it's really there to help you educate yourselves on what's happening, where the consumer interest lies, and also raise the level of the service, frankly, for the entire industry, which everybody benefits from. Also, if you're actually talking to any of your clients, investors, you can just open this up and you can show them, data-backed things. This is coming from live data from Bayut. So this is not that gets something, that's not a report that gets refreshed every 3 months or 6 months. No, it gets refreshed real time. And second thing is we put it in Profolio because, and I guess this is where the techie in me is going to come out. Look, it's very easy to build 5 different tools to do 5 different things. Okay, it is very difficult to build one tool to do everything and do it really, really well. And it makes a lot of sense to do that, because you don't want to be hopping around 5 tools, because it's all about efficiency, it's all about time, it's all about how these things interconnect with each other. Okay, so as we move into the future, and you'll see, and even right now, there are elements of this where one section can take you to another section, and you can go make changes over there, and it can take you back to this section, so you see what impact that has. So for us, insights is going to be in Profolio, because I fundamentally believe that there should be one tool that should be your best friend when it comes to educating yourself, educating your clients, and just helping you provide better service to the entire community that's out there that's using us and you to find a home. So very excited about it. This should go live, should be going live right now, but certainly after the call or after this webinar. To top it all off, it is fully available in Arabic as well. So for all of those friends and partners out there, who prefer Arabic, it's 100% compatibility in Arabic and English. I do want to point out a couple of other things. This is just, these are 2 sections that we release under Insights. There's a lot more coming. Some of the things, we're going to be adding transactions to this. We're going to be adding property-based, single property-based analytics, agent analytics. So this work has been going on for a couple of years. We put a lot of effort into the usability of it, into making sure it's easy to navigate, making sure it's easy to understand. This I really look forward to this becoming the standard de facto tool, the largest and most comprehensive knowledge base for real estate insights. And it really, I think it's revolutionary in terms of the way it's designed and the way it provides information and presents information and lets you interact with the different pieces. Please use this. Give us your feedback. We're constantly working on adding more things, but certainly, if there's any room for improvement in the existing one, we're all ears, and we'd be more than happy to take that feedback and keep working on it. So thank you very much. I think Spencer, I'd like to turn back to Spencer. There's some great panelists coming up, lots of knowledge, and they can talk more about how this data is utilized. So once again, thank you so much, and really look forward to keep putting out stuff like this, which really pushes the envelope further and further in terms of innovation, in terms of providing and raising the bar and the level of service that we provide to the industry. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks, Haider. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. Really interesting. I love that James Barksdale quote at the beginning. If we have data, let's look at data. And if all we have are opinions, then let's go with mine. I've not heard that before. Absolutely love that. I can see where you like it. So just in summary here, we've got some fantastic information that's coming out. And I think the more and more that people understand that we're in a data-led world and data tells us everything, all the answers we need, and the better it's going to be for everyone that's in the real estate and every other industry. I appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I know you're busy, so I'll let you crack on, and I'll get on with our other guests on the show today. So thanks once again, Haider Khan.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Okay, right, moving on. We've got some more guests for you. So again, make sure that you're asking your questions, you get engaged. I don't want you sitting out there, okay, just watching this and not being part of it. So we've got guests. I'm going to introduce them, but I want you to throw your questions at me. Let's challenge these guys today, shall we? Throw some of the most difficult ones you got, if you like, or let's try and get some answers. So my first guest on the show today, okay, is the CEO of Aqua Properties. We've got Paul Christodoulou joining us. And on top of that, we then have John Lyons, who's the managing director of EastPass. And then also we have Andrew Colville, who's the owner of Henry Wiltshire down in Abu Dhabi. So let's get them all on the show this morning. Good morning, oh sorry, good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon, Andrew.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Excellent stuff. So as we can see, for all of you people that are watching this right now, it looks an awful like someone's having a job interview today, doesn't it? Look how smart everyone's dressed. It's literally like the Lord of the Manor from down in Abu Dhabi's there with his relaxed check shirt. We've got Paul and John, literally, they're either the high-flying barristers or they're on a job interview, one of the two. But anyway, nice to see you, and thanks for making the effort.
Thank you.
No worries. Right, okay, so we're going to have some questions coming. I'll tell you the format of how this works, guys. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to talk about a little bit about what Haider's done and what he's introduced today. I'll get some expertise and some knowledge from you. And then our attendees are going to ask some questions. So as questions come in that are either directed to you individually or directed to you as a whole, I'll throw them in there. So get ready for a few curveballs. All right, okie dokes, let's get going. So first of all, I mean, you just listened to what Haider's talked about there with the insights. Okay, this is an interesting question for me, the first one. I'll start with you, John. Okay, look, agents talk about leads a lot, but business owners talk about how important the data is from a CRM point of view, from a portal point of view. How important do you think data really should be for agents in this current circumstance?
Very important. But before we start, Spencer, this is the first time I've worn a suit in 8 weeks, and it feels great. So anyone out there, if you've not put a suit and a shirt and a tie on, I would do it. It feels great, freshens the mind. But to your question, data is hugely important. I love getting access to data, and I think that Bayut coming out with this insight section is going to be something that I will spend a lot of time working on. Because ultimately data allows us to give a more transparent overview of the market to clients, to the consumers, and that's what they want. I really find that they want to see what's going on in the market, and really opinions that are just kind of our opinions. I don't think a lot of clients are so interested in our opinions if they're not backed up with data. Data makes our opinion become more objective, and that's what the market is really looking for, and that's what they're getting. So it's a good initiative. It's a good step in the right direction. And I think since I've been in Dubai, the real estate industry has done a great job of maturing and giving the consumer what they want.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Doesn't data make a salesperson in real estate armed with more valuable information to help close deals?
100%. I mean, you know, the saying "knowledge is power" is something that I use daily basis to my guys, and I think the fact that, you know, the insights is coming out gives you, I mean, I used to love with Bayut the trend section. I mean, that was great just from a search perspective. You were understanding what was going on within certain communities and where people were looking. That in itself was a great tool for agents, but now you have more information backed up. You know, it's like going on a battlefield without a gun. You're not going to win. Okay, so the more information you have, the more confident you will be when you go and speak with clients, and the more the client will realize that you know what you're talking about, and it's not just a lot of waffle.
At the end of the day, Andrew, it's about value, isn't it? Okay, and what value can you bring? And the value backed by data is always going to be the one that wins the battle, isn't it?
Absolutely, and yeah, we look forward to seeing more of this information from Bayut. Looks very interesting. In Abu Dhabi in particular, we're quite short on data. There's not the publicly available data on transactions, etc., that you have in Dubai. So I think we'll welcome it all the more. I'm always encouraging my team at Henry Wiltshire to, you know, be fully armed with information, to be able to give that professional overview to clients, know what's rented, know what's sold, know the prices, know the transactions, where it's happening. So absolutely, the more we can make use of it, the better.
John, let's have a think about this for a second. So you take a potential buyer or a potential tenant. What kind of data do they? Let's take a buyer. Let's take someone that's going to buy a villa somewhere in a villa community here. What kind of data are they looking for?
Each buyer is different. So there are buyers out there that are more interested just in finding their perfect family home, and they're not interested in data. There will always be buyers like that, but there are an increasing number of buyers who want access to data, like transaction data, what's happening in the market, how are your viewing stats, are they up, are they down, what is the difference between the average listing price versus the closing prices. So a lot of clients are starting to ask questions which really, if you're going to be a successful agent, you should have the answers to hand, and if you don't, you should at least go away and find the answers and come back to that client. I've definitely noticed that that's a big change that's happened since I came to Dubai, that clients are asking, you know, what is happening in the market, and the more information you give them, the more they will feel that you are the right agent for them, because you're not there to make the decision for the client, you're there to give them information that allows them to make the right decision for themselves. And that's really what you can do as a successful agent. Don't just open the door, give them access to information. And obviously, whatever they're going to ask for, you either have it in your head there and then, or you go away and find it. You invite them into your office, you can go through it with them, offer transparency, and I think clients will really appreciate that.
Paul, when we think about this, it's when people buy a property, whether it's a one-bedroom apartment or whether it's a 5-bed family home on a golf course, for most people, this is one of the biggest decisions they're going to make, biggest financial decisions they're going to make. And so, you know, they wouldn't be the smartest if they were making that type of decision without actually crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and understanding exactly what's involved. Do you find that people are far more savvy nowadays and far more, you know, focused on that kind of stuff than they ever have been?
100%, 100%. I mean, look, I personally first came and started investing in Dubai in 2003. And when I first came here back then, you were just buying a bit of paper and reselling it or keeping it and so on and so forth. And clearly, same track as what John mentioned, over the last few years, you're clearly seeing buyers coming to you already armed. They've already done a bit of their homework. They've gone and sourced information such as what we're going to have more of on Insight. They've already gone. They know they're looking for a 2M rather than a 3E or whatever. They already know what they're doing. So compared to years ago, it really has changed. It's becoming, especially from a secondary market, it's definitely showing signs of maturing.
Now, I know that everyone that I've spoken to in the industry since the lockdown was eased, the amount of leads that people are getting is off the charts at the moment. And obviously, there's a backlog of people that might have wanted to move and that kind of stuff. But when you think about people that are going to be buying real estate right now, they've got so much information at their fingertips, haven't they? I mean, there's so much research. And if you've been stuck at home for the last couple of months, then you've had even more time to do even more research, which means you're more armed than you ever were. Do you think that could confuse people, or do you think that just feeds more and more and more knowledge and sense into them when it comes to making those types of decisions, Paul?
Again, it really does come down to each buyer. Unfortunately, some buyers will listen to their friend, their colleague, rather than a professional real estate agent, which does confuse things. There is obviously a lot more information out there, definitely than ever before, which if taken correctly is fantastic. It's just about, obviously, it's then the agent's responsibility to understand the client, to qualify if they really do know what they're talking about or they think they do. Because with all due respect to some clients, they think they know everything in every profession. And it's that broker's responsibility to understand the information and then put them on that right path.
Okay, got it. Andrew, talk to me about Abu Dhabi at the moment. And by the way, guys, come in and ask your questions. Let us know what questions you've got. We've got Abu Dhabi, we've got Dubai, we've got these guys that are experts in what they do. If you've got questions over and above the ones you've already sent us, please, please, please let us know. So, Andrew, real estate, rental market, Abu Dhabi, what's happened in the last couple of months? Is it booming? Are you hustling?
It's getting there. Yeah, I mean, I was counting. It's 8 weeks now since I came home. We've got a couple in the office, but I'm choosing to work from home to keep the numbers down in the office. But I'm on the phone 12 hours a day to the team and to clients. What we've noticed, and ringing around some of the team this morning, yeah, the first week or two was very tough. Viewings in particular, everyone was frozen. No one was doing anything. So they were our worst couple of weeks in history in terms of the business. But gradually, with videos, with virtual viewings, with information, talking to people, it started to ease. Talking to everyone today, they said, a few of the team said, actually, we're virtually back to normal in terms of activity. Viewings are still challenging in a number of situations, especially if it's a tenant in a property for sale. Of course, they're not keen to give access. That's probably the hardest one. But people are out there, they're looking, people are moving a lot within communities. We're getting people moving up here from Dubai, and certainly moving from apartments to villas, looking for gardens, swimming pools, outside space. It's been spoken about a lot, but it's very true. For instance, we've got a few clients at the moment. They're in 3-bedroom apartments in Raha Beach. Lovely sea view, balcony, about 160, 170,000. But they now can get a 4-bedroom villa in Raha Gardens, for example. Maybe for 10,000 more, they might get a pool. So we're seeing a lot of that at the moment.
Okay, that's really interesting. I was listening last night to somebody on an Instagram live talking about, John, talking about the amount of leads that they were getting at the moment, like the leads from a rental perspective is literally kind of like off the charts in terms of those numbers. I can't remember who it was that was saying it. And they're saying that the one person actually said their comment was, I've got more leads than I know what to do with. Are you experiencing that at your business?
Yes, definitely. And I'll give you some interesting stats, Spencer, from ISPAS. Our leasing leads, if you look at from March to April, down 11%. So it dropped 11%. That was the tenant registrations that go on our CRM system. So after qualifying the tenants, they get put onto the CRM system. It went down 11%. But if we look at April compared to April 2019, 2% higher. So we went into this crisis already from quite a high point of registering lots of tenants. The most interesting thing is when we compare the first 11 days of May compared to the same first 11 days of May last year. And there we're 93% up for tenant registrations. We're 57% up for viewings in the leasing department. So it's a massive increase in the first 11 days of May. And that's us already at 60% of the total number of tenant registrations that we had for all of March. So we're only 35% of the way into the month, and we're already at 60% of what the leads we generated in March before really we went into lockdown. So it's absolutely true that a lot of the leasing brokers are rushed off their feet. And the challenge really now is to make sure that they still deliver quality service to all of these leads. You know, these tenants want a good service, and if you've got too much business to handle, then that's the problem that needs to be solved. That's the challenge. The challenge is not how many more tenant inquiries can we get. So that's an interesting dynamic. A lot of people might think that the real problem we have is we don't have enough business to service. The challenge is making sure we service that business professionally, because we're obviously running pretty close to capacity, or in some brokers, they're running above capacity.
There's obviously been a lot of talk of a lot of industries facing doom and gloom, and some businesses, essentially ending, and industries ending because of what's happening. But I suppose people always need a roof over their head, don't they? And whether that's a big roof or a small roof, they still need a roof over their head, and that means movement. And if there's movement, then it definitely leads into what you're saying with the data you got there, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I'm speaking to, so that's the really objective data. That's exactly what we were experiencing. Those are real numbers from the ISPAS real estate leasing team. The more anecdotal data, or the more anecdotal opinion, is I'm speaking to one of our senior leasing brokers, and he's saying that he is really busy with people moving from apartments to villas, to townhouses, to villas in Emirates living. People want a swimming pool. I think being on lockdown has made everyone realize how important the home is, how important the family home really is. And if you're going to be spending a lot of time in your home, which I think a lot of people think they might be doing over the next probably for the rest of the year. People want a nice place to live. So he's been very busy moving people from apartments into villas, and particularly with pools.
Okay, and then just before I go any further on that one, Paul, have you met many wives that are ready to throw their husbands off the balcony after living with them for so long?
I'm not sure if that's the case just yet, but I think it's getting pretty close, and sales at certain establishments have gone up for sure.
Okay, I got a question for you, Paul. As a real estate professional, we have to sell all properties, those being listed with us by our clients. Should we be promoting a property / community and deselling another one? Okay, is there any particular community that's really kind of like buoyant right now, and should we be focusing there?
Well, this is a question from a broker, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know the area in which they work, but for me personally, I've always had the opinion that one broker should work in one community to an absolute push. I mean, if going back to John's point about giving clients quality of service, how as a professional broker, and this is something that I give my guys stick for all the time when they come to me and say, can I list something out of my area because he's this or that? The answer is simply no. Unless you can tell me everything about that community, and I don't just mean the built up area, how many beds, how many baths. I mean, when is the rubbish collected? Who's the name of the security company? When do they change shift? For me, that is information. As a client or a purchaser or end user, I want to know that the person I'm dealing with has that information. So for me, the answer is, should you upsell, downsell different communities? No, you should work on your communities and obviously sell those to the maximum.
I agree. Andrew, question for you: as the market scenario has changed, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market in Abu Dhabi?
I guess it's still a buyer's market. We're always trying to bridge the gap between buyers and sellers. I mean, sales have been increasing for some time. We're doing pretty well. We had a very good year on sales last year. This year started well. Obviously, we've had a bit of a hiccup recently, but actually our sales registrations have gone up a lot. And again, we're seeing a lot of activity. It's the data. It comes back to the data, educating buyers and sellers, and getting some realism in there. I think it was Paul's point about people with unrealistic expectations or listening to their friends. Everyone's friend's a real estate expert, but listen to the agents, and at least we can use some of the Bayut data to show it from a sort of neutral source, so to speak. But no, good activity, and I do believe that sales will continue to increase. People, after they've been through this, especially for some security, long-term financial and mental security, having your own home, being able to do the garden, paint the walls, etc. Apart from the financial arguments. So yeah, it's we're seeing more and more, and I see that continuing.
John, we've got 33 million people unemployed in the United States, 14.7% of the population. Crossing Canada, it's 14.3% of the population. Here in the UAE, there's no unemployment benefit, there's no free medical care, there's no free schooling. Okay, there are going to be people that are unemployed when people start to travel again that are going to potentially be leaving Dubai. Now, as a landlord, would I need to start thinking about offering other incentives to potential tenants than normal?
I think you should definitely take into consideration your tenant's situation and is there anything you can do to help. But unfortunately, I don't think any measure that a landlord will bring forward is going to keep that tenant in the country, or that's not going to be the defining factor for whether they stay or leave. Unemployment rate rising all over the world is a big concern for the global economy. I think in the US it will probably rise even above 20%. The question is, how long will it stay there? How quickly can we bounce back? And I see this, for the market as an opportunity, because when unemployment rate is high, it's difficult to get good talent to come into our industry. So for all the real estate companies and brokers out there, hopefully there's some good quality people that will come into our industry, because as we've just said, the leasing market is busy. For landlords, I think they have to be accommodating, they should be reasonable, they should be sympathetic towards a tenant's situation, but there's only so much they can do. And you've got to go with the market. If there's somebody else that's going to come and rent the property, and you're not the one that's going to save that person's situation, you can't give them a job, I don't think, as a landlord. So you should be flexible, but you can't bend over backwards completely unless it's commercially viable to do so.
We've seen some people, Paul, we've seen some people that are some landlords that in the past would rather leave their property empty for 2 or 3 months to get their desired price than actually reduce it a little bit and get the tenant in straight away, which mathematically makes no sense whatsoever. It's actually in the interest. Let's just talk about maths for a minute. You're a tenant, you're essentially renting a property, which means it's no different to renting a hotel room on vacation. You're not getting anything apart from paying for something you never get back. With the loan to value ratio changing to 80% in recent times, with the opportunity to maybe haggle a bit more and maybe get, because you're in a buyer's market, do you think it's a good time for people to start looking at transferring from going from tenants to being homeowners?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I think as we're all in the same mindset that, you know, right now with the loan to value, with prices changing, you know, it makes sense now for someone who is a long-term tenant, especially a long-term tenant, someone that has this mindset of, you know what, I plan to be in Dubai for the next 10 years, for example, then definitely, I don't think that there's probably been a better opportunity, especially if you have cash. If you have cash right now, then you are king. And there are many opportunities out there that you can take. I can tell you now, even from within my own office, I have 2 of my team who I was speaking to the other day. They're both very successful agents. They've had a great start to the year. They themselves are now looking at buying property and jumping on that ladder. And I think that for me is a very interesting point when you see people within the industry wanting to buy in.
I think what's also really interesting right now is I think this really leans in the favor of the real estate industry, because if you think about the other asset classes that people can keep their money in right now, are people going to want to buy into the stock market? Okay. Do people know enough about Forex to trade that? Do people know enough about fixed income opportunities or commodities right now for that matter? Maybe people will have a bit of a flutter on gold. So when you look at the 5 asset classes, I really do believe that it's an opportunity. But then remove the asset classes and talk about money in the bank. Your money's going down in value every week just sitting in the bank. So if you've got money in savings, then you are going to be here for the long term. And then you compare the price per square meter of real estate in Dubai compared to most first world cities, it's been going down for the last few years where everything's been going up. So you're probably going to get a better value for money price per square meter. You're probably over the medium term going to be in a safer investment than investing in London or New York right now, and definitely comparing to the other asset classes. So to me, it seems like there's a lot of logical reason to step into real estate right now if you're sitting on some cash, put a deposit down and get in, because even though you're paying interest, you could probably negotiate a fair deal on it from an interest rate perspective. And that money's not burning a hole in your pocket and going down in value in the bank. So there's kind of like, there's loads of telltale signs that say we should be doing it. The agents need to make sure they understand, in my opinion, what the challenges are to their business. And a lot of you guys in your industry think you're competing with each other, but I don't think you are. I think you're competing with where else people can put their money, what other options they've got with their money. And if their other options are the stock market for the last 10 years, it was a battle. I remember in 2005 when I came here, I hated real estate brokers because they were offering people 20, 30, 40, 50% returns per year on their money. And being a financial advisor, I just couldn't compete with that, you know. I had no chance, you know. I'm talking 6 and 8% in a good old fashioned way. And then every real estate broker was like, well, we can get at least double that, maybe triple that. So looking at it now, I think you're in Dubai in particular in a really strong position. Do you agree with me, Andrew?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, yields are still very, very good here. Prices have come down, rents have come down, yields are still good in a worldwide comparison. It's also tax-free. There's no tax here. Borrowing's cheap. The power of leverage, I think people underestimate compared to stocks and shares and other investment classes. With real estate, we're just saying, especially now you can borrow more. The power of 5 to 1. So let the bank buy the property for you, put someone in there, rent it out. It makes perfect sense, really. And the fact that you can leverage and borrow cheaply and still have a good rate of return of 6, 7, 8, whatever percent, totally, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
This is quite interesting, John, because I talk about this a lot and hear this a lot. People can actually leverage on real estate, but they can actually leverage on other things as well. They just don't know that they can. So typically, if you're going to buy, I don't know, let's take gold, you're going to invest $100 in gold. You're not going to actually invest $20 and borrow $80. You're going to actually put $100 in. And so for you to get 100% return on your money, that needs to make 20% a year for 5 years. But when you buy a piece of real estate and you put 20% down, it only needs to make 4% a year for 5 years for you to get the same return on your investment. Do you think agents know this enough and talk about this enough and explain this enough to people? Because I think that a lot of people, when they buy a property, if they invest $100,000, that's 80 of a mortgage and 20 of cash, they still think they've spent $100,000. And after 5 years, if that property is worth $120,000, they think they've made 20% and not 100%. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think leverage is a very powerful tool, and it's also a very dangerous place to be. So obviously, investors, buyers, agents should know that. In a market that has obviously been declining over 6 years now, being leveraged has been a very dangerous thing to do. But we're not in the year 2014 anymore. We're now in the year 2020. We're already 6 years into the decline. There's a lot of tangible value in the market now. And we can obviously see that there are some green shoots. Now, I'm not predicting that the market is going to shoot up. There are still definitely challenges that lie ahead. But if you take a longer term view and you use the power of leverage, and as Andrew mentioned, the sort of 5-to-1 ratio, you have a 10% bounce in property prices. If you're leveraged at 80% loan to value, you've obviously just had a 5 times return on your equity. So this is good. Not a 5 times. Sorry, you've had a 5 times return on your equity. Yeah. So that's a good place to be.
Indeed, it is. Paul, are you facing any challenges? I know that with the lockdown happening and then the ease, are you getting problems getting deals completed? Are you facing challenges on getting transactions going from that kind of early phase to the final phase and nailed in the coffin? Are there challenges there, or is it running quite smoothly?
I think, well, interesting. Just going back to Andrew's point about the year and how it's been. From our perspective, I have to say February and March were our 2 best months. I think February is our best February in 15 years, and March was probably our best in 6 years. So we were going great guns in the Q1. I was really looking forward to Q2. So obviously this has come along and has created a bit of a hurdle. I think the main issue, we closed the office, I can't remember the specific date, on the Wednesday, and I remember on the Thursday we did 2 massive sales. We did a 25 million property in Medan, and then we did a 13 million plot up on the beach. So we had some really big deals in the pipeline. Now what's obviously happened is some of those pipeline deals have slowed. Some of the deals that were secured have dragged a little bit. Unfortunately, Dubai relies to a degree on the international client, whether it be buyer or seller, tenant or landlord, and obviously that's been affected. So deals where we had contracts that were saved for 45 days, 30 days, we had to deal with it internally and with solicitors abroad to maybe extend contracts, because obviously there's not a power of attorney in play in some cases. People can't get in. So there have been certain challenges, and then of course we have the challenges with actual viewings itself, not being able to get out there, make sure that our team and the clients are safe. But I think those challenges, especially the ones now when it comes to viewings, are moving away. And then we have to just manage the issues from an internal perspective in terms of pending deals that we're looking to get transacted. To be fair to Dubai Land Department, they were relatively proactive in terms of ensuring that we were able to get those transactions moving as quickly as possible.
Paul, that lockdown period, there was a lot of people that struggled. Staff morale might have been affected by it because people were locked at home, and the doors kind of opened and people were free again, and it was like, at last I can go out, yes, I can go and do some viewings and stuff like that. So people went into that positive space. Talk to me about morale. I know you've got a big office and there's a large team over there, because I'm in there frequently. Tell me, how has it been trying to keep staff morale up, and actually the challenges that you've faced along the way, keep the morale of the managers up as well?
Yeah, well, for varying reasons, people were obviously in contact with me about during this process and whatever else. And we have 4 teams and then an admin team, and within those 4 teams, around 120, I guess, with everyone in the office. So to go from seeing 120 people every day, even from my own perspective, I love the buzz of an office, as I'm sure everyone does, understanding deals happening and so on and so forth. So when you go from that, I feel that certain individuals who are, let's say, more proactive and don't need that buzz as much. For them, we didn't see a huge difference. For those agents who, let's say, need more manager support, for example, and even though we were doing weekly and daily, depending on the team and the community, we were doing Zoom meetings, you did see that there were some agents that were not as proactive, shall we say, in terms of listing generation and so on and so forth. They were getting a little bit upset with clients who obviously are frustrated because they want to go and view properties and that can't happen, not due to the agent's fault. So it is obviously a challenge to try and boost morale. We were doing things like, sending jokes out on different groups, because I mean, we have, as I'm sure everyone has, about 20 million WhatsApp groups, depending on the team that you're part of, and as I guess the guys are all on all of the groups. So you're obviously trying to share and get everyone as involved as possible, sending them more information, keeping them as involved. So we had a Zoom meeting the other day on Sunday morning, like the weekly team meeting. I think we had 93 people online. It was a great way to get people involved in what's happening, what we're doing as a company to make sure that we're moving in the right way, updating them on our new potential offices, telling them what we're doing as a company to get everyone back in the office. Because some people don't want to go into the office, they don't feel comfortable. So, we split the office into 3 sections. So we kept around the 30% mark. Now we're obviously trying to move people back in that can't come in or are unsure about coming in, so that we still maximize the number of people within the office and keep the morale going.
Andrew and John, I want to ask you both this next question. Okay, evictions are on hold at the moment. People can't be evicted, correct? So if people can't be evicted, okay, what's the best way for landlords? Okay, I'll ask you first, Andrew. Okay, to negotiate with tenants so that they're not financially compromised. What can they do?
We actually haven't seen too many cases where it's a real issue. And I've been asking a lot of case studies from the agents about what's been happening out there. So we haven't seen too many crucial cases, but I think the key thing is, talk to each other. Make sure you come up with a plan. There's no point burying your head in the sand. The landlord's not going to get any benefit. I think tenants need to remember that landlords do have to pay mortgages. I think a lot of people use this as an excuse. I hate to say it, but it's happened. But I think, maybe given a bit of time, find out the exact situation, speak to your tenant, speak to your landlord, and try and ease it through. But personally, we haven't encountered too many desperate cases at all here.
Okay, John, have you experienced any of that?
Not really, to be honest. I haven't heard of any serious issues. Probably if I ask Mark Richards, our head of leasing and property management, he is probably dealing with all the problems. So he's hopefully the shock absorber, so I don't get to hear too much about these things. Belinda from our property management team, I'm sure she's dealing with it. I'm not personally, which is good news. I would say, though, I completely agree with Andrew. Open communication, dialogue is key. Try and find an understanding for each person's situation and scenario. Try and be understanding. But if there is a genuine conflict there that can't be resolved, and you think that someone is being very unreasonable, this goes beyond now the real estate industry, and you have to consult a lawyer. You have to ask for professional advice. And I think that navigating really difficult litigation scenarios in Dubai is complicated. So the best place to get the advice is not from your leasing broker. It is ultimately from a lawyer. And we as real estate people need to know when to hand it over to the lawyers. So if a landlord is in a really difficult situation, and we've done everything we can as brokers to help mediate and open lines of communication, and that still isn't solving the problem, then it's time to pass it over to the experts, and those people are the lawyers. Sorry, Spencer, I'm just going to mention, I'm going to go back to a question that you asked a couple of questions ago. I don't want to confuse anyone with what I said. I said with that leveraged position, the market goes up 10%, you can 5 times your money. What I don't really mean is a cash multiple of 5 times. I mean the market increase of 10% becomes an increase on your equity of 50%. So you're multiplying the percentage increase in the market by 5 times. So a 50% increase on your equity is what can be achieved if you take one of these 80% loan to value mortgage products, and if the market goes up by 10%. So a 5 times increase compared to the market. So 10% equals 50%. That's a pretty good return on your equity. But I just want to clear that up in case anybody thinks that I'm talking about cash multiples.
Yeah, there's lots of people that made comments on what you said previously, actually, and said, what's he talking about? No, I'm joking, I'm joking.
There you go. Now I've answered. Sorry, everybody, if I've confused anyone.
Paul, can I talk to you about, I was approached recently by a company that specialized in virtual reality and virtual reality tours on real estate projects in London and New York. And they came to me and they said, look, we've got this software, we know how to do it. It's not like a video walkthrough. This is like proper, fantastic stuff. Now, when you look at us being on lockdown, when you look at this new norm, when you look at this behavior change, and all of us weren't using Zoom before, and okay, that's predominantly because we were here in the UAE, but now we've got it and we're like, ta-da, it's actually much better than we thought it would be. Do you think that virtual tours are gonna find a place in this market here, or do you think it's still gonna be the kind of old-fashioned, people need to go see, feel, touch, smell, and all that kind of stuff?
I think in every element of society, things are going to change to a degree. I think that I'm slightly more old school. I like to see, feel, touch, as I guess everyone does in an ideal world. But do I think that now is the right time for advances in technology to really influence the business practice? And yes, I do. I think as long as obviously people, the reason why people like the look, see, feel, and touch is it's tangible. You've seen it. You know it's real. You know there's not the terms and conditions. Well, actually that wasn't there, and so on and so forth, which potentially could be in other non-tangible viewings, so we say. So I think as long as those elements are taken into consideration, then yes, I can see changes within the industry, as I can for others. Like for example, when you were mentioning Zoom now, I can see office capacities shrinking, for example, where people will actually now look at changing the way they work, and instead of taking a 15,000 square foot office, maybe take a 10,000 square foot office because people can do this.
There are definitely people for sure that are really enjoying this experience, and there are also, there's other people that find it very hard to be motivated by this as well. There's people that I know that work in my organizations that are like, Spence, it's just so difficult to work from home. It's so easy to go and put the Xbox or the PlayStation on and let it, 5 minutes of that becomes, an hour becomes 3 hours, and you're not getting much done. So different people work differently, but I completely agree with you. I was on a webinar the other day with a guy that he helps companies specialize in downsizing their businesses here in the UAE and removing some of the roles in the UAE to cheaper environments. And so, yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Andrew, question in for you. What are the most challenges you're facing qualifying leads at the moment?
Qualifying leads. I don't think anything's drastically changed in that sense. It's speaking to people, getting the information. I think in terms of making sure they're qualified before you take them out to the property, that's where technology is helping, and sending the videos through, making sure that rather than blindly taking them around 20 properties, some of which may not suit for whatever reason, I think we've embraced the technology. We'll send the pictures, send the videos, whittle them down. So I suppose we're actually using that to our benefit, I'll turn it around to say. And then when you do get that viewing, which has obviously been trickier to get, hopefully you've got that client a lot more focused, and you have to show them less properties because there's less to show anyway. So I think it's everything else stays the same in terms of the questions you ask and the qualification. But I think you just try and whittle it down before you actually get out there and do the viewing. But the viewing, I believe, will still be important. It's got to be done to close them off. It might not show the house next door with the junk in the backyard, or the house that hasn't been painted, or something else. But at least we can whittle it down, as I say, to get to that point.
Good. Guys, thank you so much. You've given me so much to think about, and I'm sure lots of the people watching today have taken lots from what you're saying. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and spend time with us and share your knowledge with the audience. Just to get some final words from each of you. John, if I can start with you.
I think what I would say to everyone watching, I'm assuming that a lot of people are probably brokers out there. I think make sure you're efficient with your time. This is the number one thing that I think everyone needs to focus on at the moment, is making sure you're efficient with your time. And if you can do that and use the tools that are available to you and do something that you've never done before this crisis, I'd never been on a webinar. Now I've had 2 of our own, and I'm on this one. Thank you, Spencer, and Bayut for the invite. But do something you've not done before. And if there's something you haven't done for a while, like wear a suit and a shirt and a tie, do it. It makes you feel great.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And to you, Andrew?
I guess I think the first thing is when I came home on the 23rd of March, a lot of us thought, oh, this will last a week or two, you know, let's do everything we can, work hard, get back in the office. It's now 8 weeks later, and it's obviously dragging on. It's going to drag on for some time, I think, let's be honest. So I'm probably addressing it more to the clients out there. Let's get on and do something. Rent that property you want to, and specifically, as we've spoken at length about, think about buying. You know, the time's never been greater. Buy your home. You know, a lot of people have been through some bad circumstances or know people in bad circumstances. So get out and do something good, I think. So let us help you.
Okay, excellent. And Paul?
Well, I think that I agree with both guys there, and I think also something that I reiterated to my guys. I think from an agent perspective, this time should allow them the real freedom to clean house. And by that, what I mean is, you know, the agent's telling me this, that, the other. I say, listen, you need to go back 4-6 weeks of all of the leads that you received. Sometimes clients contact us and say, I'm looking for a 1-bed. I said, you need to now educate the client that now, if you're looking to purchase, you know, you could actually get a 2-bed. And I think now, given the lockdown, I think it's been a great experience for a lot of people who have families, let's say more so than couples, who have realized that having the garden, having the pool has made a big difference, and you're able now to upsell. So it's about understanding what I think needs and wants have changed during this period. And I think that, you know, we're seeing an increase in villa leads and townhouse inquiries. So I think that people now, it's a good opportunity to upsell to clients.
Good. Thank you for coming on the show today, John. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Paul. I appreciate your time. For all of you attendees out there, hopefully you've taken some benefit from being on the webinar here with Bayut. You've learned something. We'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know what you would like to learn, what value you would like to take. What are we not covering, and what could we cover that could help you? Remember, in challenging times like this, okay, it's important that you focus on being the best version of yourself you can be. Invest in learning, invest in educating yourself. Make sure that you understand data in lots of detail, because it can be your ally. And just from listening to the guys today and what Haider's been talking about, okay, we can see the immense value of understanding data and how you can use it to not only find new opportunities, but educate people and give them value so that they choose to buy or rent their properties from you. Look, it's tricky times for lots of people. It's difficult. We are seeing challenges. So roll your sleeves up, get stuck in, and as John Lyon says, chuck that suit on, and hopefully it will make an inspired difference. Thanks for your time, guys, and we will see you all very soon. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Cheers.